Here are the headlines for Monday afternoon, August 19, 2024. British technology titan Mike Lynch missing after Superyacht sinks off Sicily. British tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch, who was acquitted of fraud charges 2.5 months ago over the disastrous sale of his company Autonomy to Hewlett-Packard for $11 billion in 2011, has gone missing after the superyacht he was on sank off the coast of Sicily during a violent storm. WAPO slams Harris economic gimmicks, while NYT says a coup is still a coup. Vice President Kamala Harris delivered an economic speech that fell short of expectations, with critics labeling her proposals as populist gimmicks. Harris blamed corporate price gouging for high costs rather than addressing underlying economic challenges. She proposed a ban on price gouging, which some likened to failed price controls of the Nixon era. Her housing plan included a $25,000 down payment assistance program, but critics argued it could drive prices higher. The speech ultimately lacked detailed practical solutions, and Harris's campaign has yet to provide a clear plan for raising revenue to cover the costs of her proposals, which are estimated to add $1.7 trillion to federal deficits over a decade. Panic. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says very high COVID-19 levels reported in 32 states. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) reports that COVID-19 levels across the United States are currently very high in over half of states, with Omicron variants KP.3 and KP.3 and KPP.3 and KPP 3.1.1 accounting for approximately 50% of all cases. According to wastewater data as of August 15th, 32 states, including Washington, D.C., have very high COVID-19 levels, while 11 states have high levels. The CDC also notes that COVID-related deaths have been at record low levels for the past 3 months, with 618 deaths recorded across the country in the week ending August 3rd. Lavrov says clear that United States ordered Nord Stream attacks, demands answers from Germany. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has dismissed recent Western media reports on the Nord Stream gas pipeline bombing as an attempt to shield Ukraine and the United States from culpability. According to Lavrov, it is clear that the terrorist attack required orders from the very top, specifically Washington. He criticized Germany for not providing real answers to Moscow's demands for information about the German investigation into the bombing. Lavrov argued that the sophistication of the deep underwater bombing would have required American or government intelligence or military support. Russia will insist on a transparent international investigation into the matter, he emphasized. Watchdog Group says Federal Bureau of Investigation is hiding records on Trump assassination attempt. A leading watchdog group, Judicial Watch, says the Federal Bureau of Investigation is hiding records relating to its coordination with the Secret Service for a rally during which an assassin tried to kill former President Donald Trump. The incident occurred on July 13 in Butler, Pennsylvania, when gunman Thomas Crooks shot at Trump despite being spotted behaving suspiciously hours beforehand. The FBI cited Freedom of Information Act Exemption 7A to protect ongoing enforcement proceedings surrounding the incident. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton is questioning why the Biden administration is covering up the near assassination of former President Trump and has warned that the FBI cannot be trusted with this investigation. United States leading economic indicators plunge for 29 months worse than COVID lockdowns. Kamalanomics proponents claim price controls can combat deflation despite half of America believing it, while the Conference Board's leading economic indicators have declined for 29 consecutive months, surpassing the trough of COVID lockdowns. The board's senior manager, Justina Zabinska-Lamonica, downplays the decline, stating that the 6-month annual growth rate no longer signals a recession ahead. However, she acknowledges widespread weakness in non-financial components, including new orders, consumer expectations, and manufacturing hours worked. Despite this, the Conference Board expects United States real GDP growth to slow over the next few quarters due to reduced spending and investments by consumers and businesses. Battle of Kursk, invasion, outbreak of war, distraction, pawn. The ongoing war in Ukraine is taking a significant toll on the Ukrainian people, who are now seeking peace at any cost. According to sources from various social classes across the country, 90% of Ukrainians would be willing to give up Crimea, Donbass, Kherson, and Zaporizhia if it meant achieving peace. The Western media's false reporting has been hiding this reality, revealing their indifference to the fate of the Ukrainian people. History shows that a last stand by a sinking army does not lead to lasting results, and experts believe that this conflict is merely a proxy war waged by the United States and the United Kingdom against Russia, with Ukraine as an implementing agent. Suicide bombing strikes Tel Aviv for first time in many years. Hamas vows more to come. A rare terrorist attack targeted the heart of Tel Aviv in Israel when a powerful explosive device ripped through a south neighborhood on Sunday. A suicide bomber was observed carrying a backpack before it apparently detonated early, killing the culprit and injuring an innocent bystander who was on a motorized scooter. Hamas and Islamic Jihad claimed responsibility for the joint operation, promising more suicide attacks to come. The Israeli police and intelligence have labeled it a terror attack after their initial investigation, which is believed to be the work of a Palestinian from the Nablus area in the West Bank. Lock up your daughters. Climate change reportedly causes rise in child marriages. A recent article by Agence France Presse claimed that heavier and longer summer monsoon rains in Pakistan were leading to an increase in child marriages due to climate-driven economic insecurity. However, according to the World Bank's Climate Change Knowledge Portal, monsoon rains in Pakistan have actually decreased marginally since 1991. The article also exaggerated the extent of flooding in Pakistan in 2022, claiming that a third of the country was underwater when, in reality, it was around 8 to 10%. These errors are just the latest example of mainstream media outlets promoting fear-mongering and false claims about climate change in order to boost support for net zero policies. Democrats exclude Bitcoin and cryptocurrency from 2024 platform, aligning with past hostility. The Democratic Party's official 2024 platform was released without any mention of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, aligning with the past 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration's hostility towards the industry. In contrast, the Republican Party has embraced Bitcoin, making it a central part of their platform, and has pledged to end what they describe as the Democrats' unlawful and un-American crypto crackdown and oppose the creation of a central bank digital currency. The differing approaches between the parties may influence the vote of an estimated 50 million Bitcoin and cryptocurrency holders across the country in the upcoming election this November. Confidence game. Federal Reserve officials have expressed confidence that the United States economy is nearing the point where the federal funds rate can be cut, citing softening inflation indicators and a labor market showing signs of slowing down. Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic stated that he is open to a rate cut in September and emphasized that the Fed cannot afford to be late in delivering policy easing. Other officials, including Austin Goolsbee and Mary Daly, have echoed similar sentiments, with Goolsbee highlighting leading indicators of recession and Daly expressing more confidence in the inflation outlook. Markets are increasingly sensitive to labor market data, and a rate cut appears all but certain for September, with attention now turning to the pace and endpoint of easing. General Motors continues reversing pandemic hiring spree with 1,000 layoffs of technology workers. General Motors is cutting at least 1,000 tech employees globally in its software and services division, including 600 jobs at the company's tech campus near Detroit. This move comes as the legacy automaker aims to simplify operations and cut costs amid a downturn in the electric vehicle market and rising recession risks. The layoffs account for approximately 1.3% of the company's global salaried workforce of 76,000 as of last year, including about 53,000 United States salaried employees. General Motors has been working towards $2 billion in cost cuts over the next few years, having already cut hundreds of executive-level and salaried jobs earlier this year. Import volumes surge at nation's busiest West Coast ports amid strike and global trade war fears. The ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, which handle approximately one-third of all container imports in the United States, recorded their third strongest month ever in July. driven by companies rushing to import goods ahead of potential tariffs on Chinese products. This surge comes as former President Trump has signaled that he will likely implement significant tariffs if re-elected, with Goldman predicting a high probability of targeted tariffs on United States imports from China, which would raise the effective tariff rate on these imports by 18.9%. Companies are also increasing imports into the United States from China to avoid potential dockworker strikes that could erupt as early as October in royal supply chains. It almost looks like nothing happened in August. Investors have returned to taking risks as indicators improve across the board. Although most losses from early August have been recovered, some skepticism remains due to the speed of the volatility episode spike and retracement. The VIX index has set two records in the past week: the fastest 25-plus point spike from lows and the fastest ever retracement from that spike, according to strategists at United Bank for Switzerland. Will Powell pop the recession, preventing rate cut euphoria this week? Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell will have the opportunity at this week's Jackson Hole Symposium to highlight the limited near-term recession risk of the United States, thereby reducing the likelihood that the economy will negatively impact asset prices. The extent of anticipated interest rate cuts is expected to be reevaluated. Markets quickly recovered from a recent spasm due to limited follow-through from slower-moving investment strategies having to deleverage. Unprecedented swing, commodity trading advisors to buy $86 billion in global stocks this week, the most on record. Exactly 2 weeks ago, commodity trading advisors around the globe collectively liquidated over $80 billion in global stocks, sending the Chicago Board Options Exchange Volatility Index just shy of 70 as its liquidity plunged to the lowest on record, sparking a global selling cascade. Since then, much has changed, and the forced commodity trading advisors selling first ended last week, only to gradually turn to buying, with unexpected consequences following. Desperate buyers and inverse panic. The panic round trip is over and the market has entered a tricky phase. The resistance level of approximately $5,600 acts as a huge barrier, while support levels exist at $5,500, $5,450, and a major support area at $5,400. Securities and Exchange Commission slaps Carl Icahn with disclosure fines and margin loan probe. The Securities and Exchange Commission imposed fines of $1,500,000 and $500,000 on Carl Icahn and his company, Icahn Enterprises LP, respectively, for failing to disclose Icahn's billions in personal margin loans secured using his stake in IAP as collateral. The SAC alleged that Icahn pledged anywhere from 51% to 82% of IAP shares as collateral for the loans, which were not disclosed to shareholders or federal regulators. The investigation began after short seller Hindenburg Research released a report on IEP, leading to a significant drop in the company's share price. The Icahn IEP cooperated with investigators, but Hindenburg remained short on IEP, citing concerns about the company's Ponzi-like structure. The pain trade for equities is higher. Goldman's Rubner tactically bullish on long gamma in no-rules market. Goldman Sachs flow of funds expert Scott Rubner notes that the current market is governed by no rules, citing a very positive 4-week equity trading window until September 16th. He believes that the pain trade for equities is higher as global 2-week vacations have started, making it difficult to be bearish during this period.